Greetings and salutations, my fellow Illumineers. It is me, your boy JDZ, and I'm back at you again with another Lorcana video. I know most of you watching this video know what a keyword is, but have you ever wondered which keyword is the best? Well, guess what? You're in luck. I am going to deep dive all of the keywords in Disney Lorcana, and then I'm going to compare them against each other to see which one comes out on top. So if you are new to Lorcana, you don't know what keywords are, make sure you pay attention because you will if you watch this video. And if you are a veteran of the game, make sure you pay attention anyway and see what I got wrong, and get down to the comment section and let me know what your tier list of the keywords will be. But with that, I'm going to hop on in. But as we're hopping in, make sure you like and subscribe as we're on our way to 1K. And here we are. Here is the tier list, and how I'm going to rank this tier list or rate this tier list is going to be the keywords versus each other, and also the keywords, how they fit into the meta game. I'm only going to cover up to set 6. I understand set 7, Arcasia's Island, should be releasing here soon as a recording of this video, so I'm not going to include the Vanish keyword, which has just been added. I'm just going to go over the keywords that we already have. Also, in the description of this video, I have this tier list. If you want to fill one of these out, send me your version on Twitter or make a reaction to the video. You're more than welcome to do that, and we can have a discussion. So with all of that out of the way, let's go ahead and jump on in to the tier list. The first keyword I'm going to talk about is going to be support. A character with support means when they quest, you can send their strength over to another character. You can sometimes challenge and banish something that you wouldn't normally be able to do without the support keyword. So it is very versatile. It does have some cool combat tricks you can do and some cool combinations you can make with other cards in terms of removal. I feel that support doesn't really get that much notice in the competitive field. You don't really see too many decks featuring the support keyword. Support is limited to the Amber and Sapphire color group. So for those reasons, I'm going to put support into the D tier on the tier list because it just has not performed, and up until this point I can't think of a meta relevant support strategy. So for those reasons, I'll put support down into the D. And I do want to also mention that this tier list is not in stone. This thing will always be revolving and changing as the game continues to grow, and new keywords may be added. Some keywords may be at the bottom and then they'll be at the top in the future. The next keyword I'm going to talk about is reckless. A character with reckless means that they cannot quest and they must challenge if able. To make up for this keyword, most characters with reckless are going to be higher strength, and reckless is only going to be found in Ruby. However, Emerald will have the ability to deploy some reckless keywords as well. The character can't quest, but still having a large strength sometimes can just deter your opponent from exerting because they will lose their character. Or sometimes you can have a lower cost character take out a larger cost character, which can be tactically relevant. Also, I would like to say reckless is quite good because there are characters who can issue reckless as a deterrent or as a weapon. You can use Lyle Tiberius Rourke, or you can use some of the Bellwether card. You can give reckless to your opponent's cards, and then they will have to challenge into you. It can add another layer to the game. Still, I don't believe reckless has a huge role in the meta. I don't think that there are a lot of meta relevant strategies that use reckless. So for those reasons, I'm also going to put reckless in the D tier, but I'm going to put it slightly above support in that regard. I still think reckless can be cool, but I just don't think it's quite there yet. All right, the next keyword we're going to talk about is going to be challenger. A character with challenger means that they get a plus X bonus when they are challenging an opponent's character. It's also very powerful sometimes, as you can place it on the board and you can deter your opponent from questing because that challenger will boost their strength and they'll be able to take it out on the crackback. Challenger is typically found in Amethyst and Steel. One of the big challenger cards that kind of is very, very meta relevant is going to be the Merlin Crab. It comes up a lot. It adds a whole nother layer to the game with that +3, being able to bounce, add 3 to another character. And you can really, really do some cool combat tricks with that keyword. So it's quite powerful. However, there are some downsides to challenger. When you are being challenged, you don't get that boost, and the downside of challenger characters or characters with challenger, most of the time their strength is going to be naturally quite low. So typically when they are exerted, they're going to be taken down. And also challenger is very telegraphed. You can see that it's coming and you can just easily play around that keyword a lot of the time. So for those reasons, I'll put challenger in the C tier. It is above reckless and support, but still not quite the highest level of keyword in my opinion. The next keyword we're going to talk about is Bodyguard. Bodyguard is a very, very interesting keyword. It does come up quite often. It is typically going to be found in the steel and amber color group. A character with Bodyguard says that it can interplay exerted, and anytime your opponent wants to challenge, they have to challenge a character with Bodyguard first. So that is very, very important to remember. And another keynote to think about with Bodyguard, in the event that you have a Bodyguard character and it is ready, it's not exerted, and your opponent deploys a card that allows them to challenge ready characters, they still must engage with the Bodyguard. So keep that in mind. Even if it's readied and they can challenge ready characters, they must choose the Bodyguard first if you have one on the field. And stat wise, Bodyguards typically have larger willpowers and smaller strength, but still that, and just forcing your opponent to challenge into the Bodyguard, I think it does come up quite a bit, especially in some aggro strategies and even in some mid-range strategies, slowing your opponent down. The weakness of Bodyguards, I believe, is that Bodyguards typically don't quest for much. And if you're playing against an aggro deck and they're not challenging you anyway, then Bodyguards typically come out and they're going to be quite slow, and they're not going to be able to help you win that race. Some Bodyguards do have quite sizable strength, and they'll be able to challenge in and help you board fight and fight back and protect your board, but it's still, sometimes it's going to be a bit too slow, and sometimes the strength is so low that it really doesn't have much of an impact. And for those reasons, I'm going to put Bodyguard into the C tier. Okay, the next keyword I'm going to talk about is going to be resist. Characters that have resist, they also get a plus. Just like Challenger, they're going to get a plus as well, and where plus equals the amount of resist that they get. Any character with resist basically means that any damage done to them is reduced by the amount of resist that they have. So if a character is resist 2, you do something with 2 damage, then they get 0 damage. I think resist is quite powerful, and it comes up. Resist is limited to the steel color group, but also Sapphire has a lot of cards that interact with resist as well. Resist, I think, is a very, very powerful keyword. It's still not the most powerful keyword, but it is quite powerful because it will throw off a lot of combat math. When your opponent is trying to challenge and banish your characters with their characters, they always have to consider how much resist you possess on your side of the board. A lot of characters that do have resist are going to have slightly lower in the strength. Typically, there are some really buff ones, but most of them are going to have lower in the strength, and it's going to be more of a defensive thing. A lot of cards can kind of interact without engaging in combat, so just sitting there maybe doing nothing most of the time may not work out. For those reasons, I think resist is very strong. I'm going to put resist into the B tier because it is quite strong, and it only gets stronger as more characters with resist enter into the game. The next keyword we're going to talk about is one of my favorite keywords. It's called shift, and this is one of the only keywords that is universal to every color group. Every color in Disney Lorcana is going to feature a character with shift. Basically what shift means, any character that has shift plus the number, you're able to pay that shift cost and place it on top of another character with the same name. I think this is very cool, and it adds a nice unique layer to the game. It's very similar to like evolving or transforming your character into another version of itself for a cheaper cost, so you can cheat out high level characters for a lower cost, and I think it is very, very cool. There's a lot of things you can do when you can shift and you can sing, or you can shift and you can challenge. It comes up quite often. However, I don't think shift is the best keyword because you do have to play sometimes some suboptimal cards in your deck in order to fulfill that shift obligation, and you do have to draw both of those pieces in tandem. And even though Lorcana has a very gracious mulligan process, getting both of those cards in your hand at the same time can be very difficult, especially when you include multiple shift lines into your deck. When you're able to pull it off, it's quite powerful, and it is quite good, but sometimes you'll draw these cards in disjointed pieces and it just feels quite bad. So for those reasons, I'll put shift into the B tier above resist. I do think it's very strong. I do think it's very good, and it's only going to get better. Set 7 has already leaked and revealed some very new shift mechanics, and I'm very excited to see where shifting can go. But right now, currently, I have shift as a solid B tier keyword. So moving on, the next keyword we're going to talk about is going to be ward. Now, ward is a keyword, is one that either you love it or you absolutely hate it. Okay, Ward is the bane of a lot of people's existence because it can completely hard counter a lot of strategies, hard counter a lot of different decks. I personally love Ward. I love playing characters with Ward because it seems so safe and secure. So for those who don't know, any character with Ward, your opponent cannot target that character with card effects. So basically any card that says select chosen character will not be able to be used on any character that has Ward. Ward will only be found in the Emerald and Sapphire color group as of the recording of this video, and it is super annoying, as I said before, because there are so many powerful cards in Lorcana that people play in their decks that specifically target one card or another, and having Ward will protect you from those types of things. But some of the downsides with Ward, a lot of characters that have Ward are going to have low strength most of the time, and when they do get exerted, a lot of the times they're going to get knocked out relatively easily. Also, there are a ton of cards in this game that can play around Ward without really deviating from their game plan at all. Lady Tremaine, Bee King Undisputed, Be Prepared, Big Sisu, a lot of those characters and a lot of those cards can easily just not be affected by Ward in any way. So for those reasons, I think Ward is very strong, and it's only going to get stronger as the game goes along. But for those reasons, I'm going to put Ward as a solid B tier above Shift, but still not quite the very, very best keyword in the game. Still super strong, very annoying, very solid, but I have it here as a B tier. The next keyword we're going to talk about is going to be Rush. Rush is allocated to the Ruby and Amethyst color group, and characters with Rush can challenge the turn that they are played to the field. I think Rush is one of the strongest keywords in the game. I think it is powerful. Cards that come to mind, Madam Mim Fox and Maui Hero to All. I think those are two of the best cards in Disney Lorcana as of right now with set 6. Being able to bypass the drying mechanic of the game and challenge immediately is going to give you a lot of tempo back, and sometimes you're going to get a lot of plus value, and your opponent is going to have to play around those cards and respect the rush turns as they come in. Rush characters also typically have very high strength, so they're going to be able to take down most things, and they're going to also be able to withstand a lot of things as well, so they're going to be able to get plus value. I think you always have to look out for rush cards, and I think rush characters are played very heavily in the meta game. A lot of meta relevant strategies play rush, so for those reasons, I'm going to put Rush as a very high A tier level keyword. I think it's one of the stronger keywords that we have, and I think every time a new Rush character comes out, it is something that you're going to have to look into. Maybe you can put that into your deck because of how powerful that keyword is. So that's where we're going to put Rush. Okay, we're almost at the end. Make sure you guys like and subscribe as we are going to move on. The next keyword that I'm going to be talking about today is going to be Evasive. Evasive is another incredibly annoying keyword. Oh my goodness, Evasive. Again, this is just like Ward. A lot of people love it or a lot of people hate it. There's no in between. Either you love Evasive or you absolutely cannot stand it. I think Evasive is incredibly powerful. Any character that has Evasive means they can only be challenged by another character with Evasive. So if you have a character out, you can have how many characters they want. You can't touch it. They can just quest freely, and it has to just sit there. Typically, Evasive characters usually had very low stats. They would have very small, modest stats, very weak, very small willpower, very small strength. But however, now they're starting to get quite strong, and their willpowers and strengths are starting to increase as the game gets a little further along. So then there's no more little small evasive characters. They are all quite strong, and typically evasive characters are also going to have other abilities as well, or they'll also be mixed with other keywords as well. So evasive is something that you just add on to one thing and just make that one thing even better, and now you can't challenge it, and it just becomes a nightmare sometimes. So I've seen evasive cards come out and take over games, and it's just very, very, very annoying. So for those reasons, I'm going to put evasive way high here above Rush, still in the A tier level, because again, they do have some weaknesses. A lot of their characters are going to be a little bit weaker. They're still going to fall victim to a lot of the threats that can take out all the other things. So I have to put it as an A tier. It is quite solid, and you could make an argument that Evasive could be an S tier level, but for the reasons I stated, I'll put it down as still an A tier level keyword in my opinion. I think that's where it belongs. So with that, without further ado, no surprise to anyone, no shock to anyone, the number one S tier level keyword is going to be none other than singer. I will put singer as the S tier keyword. I think it is extremely powerful, maybe too powerful. I think singer is too strong of a keyword in my most humble opinion. There was something that was said by the Forbidden Mountain. I believe it was Dan that said, it was very remarkable when he said that singer is something that is pure Disney, is pure Disney Lorcana mechanic. Okay, I think that's very insightful because it's so true. The entire singing mechanic is something that is very unique to Disney Lorcana alone. No other game that I've played or I've seen has anything that can compare to singing. Singing itself is insanely broken. Okay, that is a broken mechanic. And a card with singer, it's another plus, very similar to Challenger, very similar to Resist. So in Lorcana, any character can sing a song for free, okay, if they have that same cost that is equal to the amount of the song that they're trying to sing. That is the singing mechanic. However, if your character has singer, they will get a plus value of whatever their singing number is. So if a character is a singer 5 and their cost 3, they can now sing a song for 5 for free. Bruh. That is such a broken thing. But to kind of balance the brokenness that is singer, it's only limited to one color. As of the recording of this video, only one color can sing, and that is amber. And they have all of the singers in their color group. And that is a very powerful strategy in Disney Lorcana, the amber steel or the amber song deck, or some people call it steel song deck. They can come out and they can play. Sometimes I've seen them play 15, 16, a 20 ink turn with only 4 ink available, which is extremely powerful because they have so many singers that can sing so many songs, and they got Whole New World, which can be sang by a 3-cost singer, and then you can set up more singers and just snowball into this harmony of just taking out all your characters and just singing all these songs. It is so powerful. It is so obnoxious sometimes, but there is no other keyword that can do the things that singer can do, in my opinion, but as of right now, I don't think that there is a keyword that is standalone better than singer, and I would love to hear from you. So if you disagree with me, make sure you get down to the comment section and let me know. Here's my tier list. Tell me what you think about it. As always, I'm JDZ. I'm on a quest. Until the next time, shout out to the real ones. Salute to the OGs. Peace.